Hey creative friends! In this video I am going to share just a really fun play session using my new water media sticks and a few brushes. I've got a few silver brushes. I've got the triangle brush, which is one of my favorites, the silver silk, one of the cat tongue brushes, and one of the oval brushes, the silver black velvet. So my new water media sticks and blocks can be used either to paint with or draw. You can also use them like pastel, kind of soft pastels, all the way to a watercolor look. So I can draw right on my paper. I'm using Strathmore printmaking paper, and they all have kind of a different grit and tooth to them. They are made with a variety of pigments. So you can see some of them are looser and definitely more pastel-like. Some of them are harder and they need to be wet, so that one doesn't move as much, but you can still get a pretty solid paint mark with it once it has water added to it. And then there's some that have a really light mark, but once you put them in the water, they're all water soluble. You can then draw right with them on there and paint. So I can take a little bit of water and just kind of wash these out. Also, they mix and blend really beautifully also with my Tracy Bautista color inks and watercolors, handmade watercolors. You can layer them. So they some of them act really like soft pastels, and then again some act more like a watercolor. It just depends on the pigments that were used to create them and the binders. They all have different amounts and variations of binders in them. I've got some other kind of stones. They're a little bit more irregular shaped, which is kind of fun. And you can still use them with the water just like that. So I'm just doing a little bit of abstract mark making just to show you what these colorful products, art supplies can do. I've had so much fun creating them. I've been making these for myself for a few years and finally decided to release a set during the winter, and these are some of the colors that are part of that set. So I want to maybe sketch in some florals. And you'll notice I'm wearing a glove on one hand because I don't want to get the pigment all over my fingers. I just got a little piece that got broken off, so I just smashed it right into the background there. So little of these go a long way. They're just really fun to work with. And I can blend them in like so. I can use some other tools to kind of move them around, brushes and sponges. And I love working with the stones because they end up creating both a thin line. You can really create kind of this thin line with them, or you can use them on the side and get thicker shapes and lines. And then I have some that you can just add water right to them like that. I'm putting a little water inside my ceramic, and then I can paint right on top of this. You can see how vibrant that color is. I love this triangle brush from Silver Brush. It's one of my favorites to create florals and botanicals with. And maybe we'll add just a little red in here. And then I can actually brighten this up a little bit with either some titanium white paint, which I love to use. You can also layer in, if you want to really kind of save those layers, you can use a super matte medium by Golden is great, or Liquitex clear gesso. So I'm just adding in a little texture with the, and I think I'm going to grab some white once this dries just a little bit more. Actually, let me go grab one of my white. I didn't bring one of my white pastel sticks. One of my drawing sticks here. So I've got one of my white drawing sticks, and I can add in just some nice highlights. Still a little wet over here, so if I let this dry a little bit more, I'll get a nicer contrast. You can see where it's dried, it's showing up more white. So I may let this sit for a little bit, and actually I may coat it with some super matte medium just so that I can work more layers over the top. Actually, I think I want a little bit of red. Oh, it's too much. Just a little too much. Let's blend it in. It's a nice thing about working with water media. It's very forgiving. You can change it and move it around with water or with your fingers. Okay, this is dry now, and I'm just going to add in a little bit of white just to add a little highlight in some of the flowers. And maybe, let's see if I have a light. I don't know if this is going to show up. Maybe a little bit. It's kind of a lilac color. And I want one of my blues, but I don't have the one I'm looking for. So let's just add this in there. This will add a little nice contrast in there too. So we'll let that dry. I may add some titanium white paint in there, we'll see. But so far, I like how it's turning out. It does probably could use a little bit more contrast. So I think adding in a little white paint may help. And the nice thing about these drawing sticks and painting sticks is that you can really layer them up. I think this is a little too wet down there. Yeah, it's still a little too wet. So that is a little peek at the Tracy Bautista Color watermedia drawing sticks, blocks, and stones. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see what you create. Have fun, and I'll see you next time.